Alright, so it's about time we had a look at drawing hair. I'm going to step you through a really easy process for adding hair to your characters. I've already drawn this character ready to go, so let's get into it. Okay, so divide the head into two parts, and then halve those parts again. So for that top line, that's going to be our guide for putting the hair ties, and the bottom line is going to be the guide for the ears, and then the hair will go in between those two lines. Alright, so start with drawing your ears around about where that bottom red line is. Don't go to the hair ties yet. We're going to draw the hair, so from the top right, going down to the bottom left, we're going to draw a nice curved line. Now that is going to be your fringe, or I'm not sure what other countries call it, but we'll just call it the hair. I'm not sure of the actual technical name. It could be bangs, I don't know. Anyways, so then we move on to the hair ties, and these hair ties will form the pigtails. And again, I don't know what else they call them around the world, so we'll call them pigtails. And basically pigtails are just clumps of hair tied into a bunch, I think. I've got 4 sisters and a daughter. I probably should know what they're called. Anyways, to finish off the character, all you need to do is draw the hair at the length that you want it. If you're looking for some more examples, let's go ahead and draw 3 very popular styles right now. So this first character is going to have very long hair. The hair will come out of those hair ties and go all the way down to just above the legs. So it adds a lot more volume to that head, and it does add a little bit more cuteness, I believe, anyway. And for the second character, we're going to have the hair quite short with some jagged edges. And for this third character, we're going to try to draw some braids. Now, braiding for me personally is quite challenging because I don't have long hair and I haven't had the practice to become good at it. So when drawing it, it can be quite challenging as well. But I've come up with a really simple way of doing it. It's not overly detailed like actual braiding is, but it still has a very similar effect. Alright, so on the second braid, I'm going to show you a little bit more detail. So as you can see here, it goes in and out, in and out. On this side, make sure that your in goes into the out of the other side. So they alternate. And then when we go to join those middle lines up, it becomes very clear. All we need to do is draw a line from each inner point, and that braiding effect is achieved. Alright, so let's have a look at 3 other completely different styles. I'm going to make these up as we go here. So this one here I'm going to draw with the hair pulled back, and we're going to have a bun back here, just like that. And then we can detail the hair with a few simple lines. Now it's important to go very sparing with the detail sometimes, because if you put too much detail into it, it can lose the overall effect of simplicity. In this case, I have detailed the dress and the shoes, so it kind of looks okay if we put a little bit more detail into the hair. Alright, so for this rocker style girl, we're going to make the hair quite edgy and a little bit different. So I'm going to part the hair here, and we're going to lift the hair off the original circle head. And the reason why we're doing this is because on that left hand side where that triangular shape is, that's going to be shaved. So I want the hair to come up and over as if that little shaved part is all the way to the skin and the hair is coming out and over. It'll make it look like the hair has a little bit more depth. So what we'll do now is thicken and smooth out a few of those lines. And then we'll start removing the internal lines. So that was on another layer, so I'm going to select that layer and now remove those lines inside of that hair space. Now obviously it does make it a lot easier if you're working with layers. If you're using paper, just simply pick up your rubber or your eraser and remove those lines manually. Okay, so for the final touches, still making sure those lines look good. And now we can add that shaved hair, which is simply just a heap of dots. And again, just to add a little bit more depth to that hair, I'm going to add a few lines here, and if you pay really close attention, I'm going to cut out those lines as well, just where that parting is. So you can see now there's little divots, or little chunks taken out, just to add a little bit more dimension to that. Okay, so let's move on to the final character in this lesson. We're going to draw a very standard type of long hair character. This one has a bit of a fringe or bangs, and we're going to have long hair going down with that kind of frayed, jagged edge at the end there. Simply remove the rest of that original head on both sides. And we're just going to go quickly detail this ear in again because it isn't quite in the right position for the hair. Sometimes the hair can cover the ears or partially cover the ears, so I want to make sure that's correct. So I'll go around the rest of the weaker lines first, and then we'll finish up by completing that tiny little bit of the ear. And there we go. I really hope you like the different hairstyles, and I hope you can use them in your own characters.